Joining us today is Chris Capossela. He's a Senior Vice President at Microsoft, and Steve Gillmor. He's the TechCrunch IT editor. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Great to be here.
So we're a few weeks away from the launch of Office 2010. Pretty exciting for you, but the overwhelming question is, how do you guys plan to make money off of this? Of course, your profit margins are going to be squeezed when you're offering a product where so many of the services are free.
Well, we've competed with free for a really long time, and I think we know how to deliver great value for our customers. We've got over 6 million people who have downloaded the beta of Office 2010, and the feedback has just been really, really fantastic. So we think we're going to have a wonderful hit on our hands, and I think it's going to be our bestseller yet.
But of course, profit margins, right? I mean, how do you plan to make just as much money as in the past that you have been making with the Office product?
Well, there are a few things that we're doing. Number one, we're making it a lot easier for people to buy Office when they buy a new PC. We've got a new Office pre-install program that many OEM partners have signed up to use. So they'll be installing the full set of Office SKUs or Office products on their PCs when they manufacture those PCs. So when you go to buy a new PC in the fall, let's say, you'll have the Office SKUs already installed there. Mm-hmm. You'll be able to buy a product key, just a little card that has the key written on it, and just unlock the SKU that you want that's already on the machine. So I think making it far simpler for people to experience the product, buy the product when they buy a PC.
But then Microsoft is still dependent then on installed software. I mean, do you really see that as the future? I mean, other Microsoft execs have said that we're going all in essentially on cloud computing, right?
Yeah. Services in the cloud is a huge revenue opportunity for us, and we are all in on the cloud. I certainly think that the future of computing is going to be a combination of software that people run on their PCs and their phones, rich client software that runs on PCs and phones, and of course software that runs in the browser with zero installation whatsoever. So we think bringing our software to the cloud is going to give us the opportunity to reach brand new customers that we've never really reached before.
But you say that you've been competing against free for a long time. These days you're competing against Google, not just piracy. You've always competed against yourself in terms of providing new features for upgrades. Now it's a different equation. How do you meet the Google challenge?
Well, I think providing a wonderful value proposition with our software, whether it's the PC-based software or software in the browser, is going to be how we compete with anybody, including Google, including old versions of ourselves. With Office 2010, we're delivering Office web applications in the browser. So you'll have Office on the PC, you'll have Office in the browser, and you'll have Office on the phone. And we see customers like Starbucks and like McDonald's going to the cloud with Microsoft, using Exchange Online and SharePoint Online. They want Office as well with those tools. So we think there's a lot of greenfield opportunity. We love competition. It makes us do our best work. It makes our competitors do their best work. In the end, obviously, consumers are the big winners.
Yeah, I see that there's a lot more opportunity, but it seems like the overriding story here is that there's going to be less money, essentially, in the type of software products and the cloud computing products that you're going to be offering. Do you think that Microsoft has a long road ahead of it in terms of being locked into that innovator's dilemma? You've been reliant so long on such a profitable product, now that it's hard to kind of innovate and be competitive against something like Google.
We have the challenge of constantly reinventing our business. We're doing that with the Office web applications, and we're doing it with new products like SharePoint, where 5 years ago we weren't a player in the enterprise search market. We weren't a player in running people's internet-facing websites or their intranets. We weren't a player in enterprise content management. We weren't a player in voice. Today we've got customers like Sprint who have 11,000 employees using our voice over IP solution and not using their PBX at all.
Well, certainly you've come a long way. The percentage of Microsoft's overall revenue that's going to enterprise servers is growing substantially, and Bob Mugley should be very proud of that. But it doesn't really answer the question that we're asking, which is how do you avoid cannibalizing your revenue markets?
Well, again, it comes down to whether or not we can create new scenarios and new value that people say are quite unique to what we do compared to our competition. So Bob has done a wonderful job with server and tools, but the IW team has done a wonderful job with SharePoint. That business didn't exist 5, 6 years ago. Now it's a $1.3 billion business, and it works really well with Office.
But those add-ons, those services that you plan to offer, a large bulk of that is the ability to install the software as well on the units, right? But essentially with us all going all into cloud computing, will that be obsolete as a revenue stream going forward then?
Well, our approach to the cloud is to really give customers the cloud on their terms. Some customers are going to want us to run Exchange and SharePoint on their behalf, 100%. Exchange Online and SharePoint Online. Coca-Cola Enterprises is a good example of that. GlaxoSmithKline is a good example of that. Both of them have moved away from Notes and they're moving to Exchange Online and SharePoint Online with no servers that they're going to run for their communication and collaboration experience. Other customers are going to want to mix and match. We know a lot of enterprises want to keep control of servers and want to run them themselves, but perhaps they'll use the cloud to offer new scenarios to employees that they never offered anything to before. Starbucks is a nice example of this.
A lot of the companies that you've mentioned, Starbucks, these are huge corporations, right? Is that the composite of your ideal consumer? Is that your main market? Are you missing out essentially on the opportunity to get a lot of the small businesses, the startups in Silicon Valley, for example?
Well, you know, we always want to deliver software to customers that work across the entire spectrum. Consumers, small businesses, mid-sized customers.
Yeah. But do you have a strategy for the smaller businesses, the startups? And do you think you're making any traction there?
Yeah. Well, I certainly think one of the key things that we're providing to startups, we have this wonderful program called DreamSpark and BizSpark, where we offer startups a bunch of our technology for free. So if they're literally just getting started and they meet a certain set of criteria, they can get a wonderful set of technology from Microsoft to get going. It's been a very, very successful program for us. Obviously, we see startups using PCs with Windows. Office is a critical component for many, many companies, including startups.
Yeah.
So I think
but Google has been more successful in that startup base, right? Is there anything that you want to mimic from Google's strategy, perhaps, or that you want to draw from?
I don't think really our business is focused on mimicking any competitor. You know, we have some wonderful assets to use that product. Our job is to make sure we're bringing really new, innovative products to market. Products like Windows 7, products like Office 2010, and those will really take care of themselves. We can't spend all our time looking left or right. We have to focus on our products and our customers.
But you are competing directly against the Google apps when you bring out an online product. So I think one of your challenges is that you have a sort of a confusing story about what it is that is coming in online and also you know, the new Office 2010. How much of this is online? You've mentioned something in the past about you know, some branding things like Windows Live. What's Windows Live? What's Office 2010 Online? And what's Exchange Online? And how that relates on the enterprise side to what you're about to release.
So Microsoft has a set of services for consumers. Windows Live Hotmail, Windows Live Messenger, Windows Live SkyDrive. When we ship the 2010 release, we'll also have the Office web applications just built right into the browser as part of Windows Live.
And what are the limitations of the Office web applications?
Tell me more. When you say limitations, what do you mean?
Well, you know, typically, if there are no limitations, then you're giving something away for free.
Oh, I see. Let me answer the first question and then come back to this one.
Okay.
So Windows Live is really a set of consumer services, and we're offering the Office web applications for free as part of Windows Live. Then we know businesses...
But from a functionality perspective, what does Office web applications not provide that Office does?
Let me just hold that thought and finish the first question you asked me. You asked me what the difference was.
I'll be waiting.
Okay, great. So we've got the Windows Live services for consumers. For businesses who want a lot more flexibility and control over administrative functionality, we have a set of online services that are based on the exact same products that businesses run on-premise today. That's Exchange Online, that's SharePoint Online, and we'll offer the Office web applications as part of those subscription offerings as well. Then, of course, we have the full rich client, the Office 2010 rich client that runs on PCs. So with 2010, we've set out to build the best productivity experience on the PC, on the phone, and in the browser. And we really think that delivering on those three, PC, phone, and browser, is going to spell a successful release. Now, when we sat down and designed 2010, we didn't say, hey, what features are we going to remove from the PC to put in the browser? Instead, we said, how do we build the best productivity experience in the browser? And that's going to be different in some ways.
I
than the
understand,
PC.
but this is a trick question. There's
Okay.
a reason for it. I want to know what you're providing. I want to know what you're not providing.
I see. Well, there are certain things that I think lend itself well to the PC that don't lend themselves to the phone or the browser. Let me give you an example that doesn't exist on the phone or the browser. The ability to do really beautiful cinematic transitions in your PowerPoint slides. Most modern PCs have a pretty advanced graphics processor in them. We take advantage of that in the PowerPoint rich client. So you can do these really gorgeous transitions from one slide to another.
It seems like you're adding a lot more layers of complexity onto this. Do you think that Microsoft is moving away from trying to simplify it for the user? It just seems like with all these different features, these add-ons, different pay models, that it creates an experience that is more complicated eventually for the user.
When you go buy a new PC, if you want to buy Office with that PC, it's already installed on the machine. All you do is enter in a key and we unlock Office, and you can save your documents directly up to SkyDrive. So we worked hard to provide a very simple experience for the end user.
But I think Evelyn's got a good point here, which is that, I mean, it took you maybe 5 minutes to explain what you're doing, minus my interruptions. How do you describe Google Apps? You can do it in about 2 sentences. It's free. $50 a year, whatever it is in terms of the so-called enterprise version. And you've got Windows Live, you've got Exchange Online as an enterprise product, which you're adding the web apps to and bundling with. And then you've got something in the middle here, which is the difference between Office and the web versions of Office. It's a complicated story to tell. It may be easy to be able to deploy it, but it's hard to explain it. And what you're about here, right, Evelyn, is breaking into a market, particularly the phone market.
Oh, I think so. We provide an incredible productivity experience across the PC, phone, and browser for consumers all the way up to the largest businesses in the world.